Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Ask the Culpeppers. This show is sponsored by @TheBabySpot CA Digital Global Parenting Magazine, the only global parenting magazine offering a variety of product reviews and written material empowering parents all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Culpeppers. In our society today, kids are dealing with a host of issues seemingly far worse than any previous generation seen on this earth. It doesn't matter about your race, your socio-economical status, your political party affiliation, your child is at risk of being sucked in by the evil influences around them. So today we have a question from Carol in Toronto, and it reads, "My child is going into 10th grade, and I'm terrified. He is a good kid, but the summer has changed him. His childhood friends, who he used to hang out with, go to play basketball with, and go to the movies, are long gone. Now new kids are coming by the house. I caught a few of them smoking, and I overheard some conversation that I wish I did not. My son is a good kid, but I don't like the company he keeps. What do I do?" Carol in Toronto. Carol, this is a very good question that's plaguing parents all over the world. Doesn't matter where you live, don't matter who you are, it is a concern to all parents. A writer of old once said, "Be not deceived. Evil communication corrupts good manners." This goes for everybody. It don't matter whether you're gray-headed, it don't matter whether you're bald-headed, it don't matter whether you're young or whether you are seasoned, but evil communication can corrupt good manner. And our kids are even more at risk because their minds may not be mature enough to decipher between the different behaviors that they see. So when I took a look at this, I wanted to look at three different factors. And the first factor is what I call parental check. And let me tell you what I mean by that. According to an article that I read here by livestrong.com, it talked about the parental's effect on a child's behavior. And so what the article was saying was that many children are like sponges, and that they model the behavior of the parent. So a lot of the things that the parent deem acceptable or unacceptable, the child sees it. The child looks at it, the child hears it, and the child will make an attempt to duplicate some behaviors that we exhibit as parents. So in this first factor, whenever I come across something that my child or my children are involved in or do, I check myself. And that's why I call it the parental check. For example, let me tell you guys what happened about a month ago that resurfaced about 2 weeks ago. So Linda and I took one of our trips to McDonald's here locally. And when I went into the McDonald's, at that particular time, there were no customers in line. So I stood in line, Linda and I, we waited. And there was one employee that at the McDonald's that was sitting down seemingly on break. Then there was another employee that was ordering food from one of the digital ordering stations that they have. Then it was two more employees behind the counter, and then one came from behind the counter, seemingly maybe going to the restroom or something, and passed me. Nobody said nothing to me. I'm standing in line, I'm just waiting. Maybe hopefully somebody's going to ask me what I want to eat, so I waited a little bit longer, and I looked around. Saw the manager, no one said anything. Then one of the young ladies came from behind the counter and went past me to pay for her food that she was ordering for herself. And at that time, I just blew it. And I said, "Excuse me, is anyone going to ask me what I want to eat? Is anyone going to acknowledge that I'm even standing here? There's nobody in front of me." I did not like it. I was very unhappy. And so then the lady was like, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, the young lady here came and ordered her food and paid for it and didn't even ask me what I wanted. So finally they were like, "We're sorry, sir, we're sorry." And then the manager was fussing with one of the employees saying, "I told you to get on the register." Now all this is taking place in front of me. So So we goes home, think nothing about it. They finally got the food resolved. Well, a couple weeks ago, Linda went with the other kids and mom to McDonald's. And so when they went into McDonald's, Linda told Mom, I hope you don't be hollering and screaming like Daddy was when he was up here last time. So when they called me about it, I was immediately convicted because that's what Linda saw me do. She saw me act that way. It impacted her. Even though she didn't act that way, it had to have had an impact because she brought it up. And so I was immediately convicted in saying, okay, I need to watch what I do and what I say in situations like that because it can rub off on the kids. And so when I say parental check, that's what I mean. What involvement or what have I allowed to happen or go on within my own activity that can promote this? Because you have a lot of parents that promote, different things. They don't have to be bad, but some of the bad habits the kids are definitely going to pick up. It could be drug use, could be yelling, screaming, fighting, arguing, lying, cussing. It could be a number of things. But when the child do it, we can't act surprised. We can't divorce ourselves from that because the child heard us say it. And so that's the first thing I would look at, Carl, is what have you done to promote or allow some of the behaviors that you may be seeing in your child. And so the second thing I wanted to look at is what have you allowed your child to do or get away with? Okay, there's 3 questions I want to ask. Let me see. Hey, can you put these on the screen? Put these on the screen. So the first one is, what expectations have you set? What boundaries are in place? And have you checked out who your kids are hanging around? Those are 3 things that I would have to ask. Have you considered the environment? And so I think as a parent, honestly, we don't do a good job of checking out our children's friends. We meet people, whether we meet them at church, at work, in the neighborhood, and we just look on the outside and assume, oh, it's okay for my child to hang with these particular children. I know with all of our children, of course, with our youngest, it's by default. But with our older kids that are getting a little more independent, their close friends, we make an effort to meet their parents. We make an effort to find out more about them by asking them, not by digging and all of that kind of stuff, but by asking them. If they're going to be involved in them, they're going to come over maybe to a birthday party or go to a swim party or go to the volleyball game together. We make an effort to find out more about the parents. We want to know what's happening. Just like I would encourage anybody to do me or anybody else. If don't just trust what you see online. Don't just trust what you see a person driving. Don't just trust what kind of job they have. You need to find out more about them and what they believe and what they find as something that may be acceptable or not acceptable. Just like with grown people, you can't just meet a person in 1 week and say that's my best friend and start telling all your business. Or start doing all of these things. You got to learn these people. Anybody can put on a good face for a period of time, but you got to find out what you're dealing with. Can you imagine what our kids are up against? We got to find out what we're dealing with. Little Tommy around the corner may be selling dope. He might be smoking pot. Little Tommy can laugh and smile, but little Tommy might have some issues that need to be resolved. And if you don't find out more about those kids, you very well can get your own child in a bad state. And so those are 3 things that I would check out as a parent. We need to stop taking things at face value and discern, look and see what's behind a thing for a child. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break for a word, to have a word from our sponsors. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about that 3rd factor, and I'm going to give an example of what could happen if you don't get a grip on this right now. I'll be right back after this short break. Don't go away.
Hi, this is Greg, owner of Right Sound VoiceWorks. If your project or company needs a voice for promotion, I've got years of experience and I can produce audio tracks for you quickly from my home studio. Send an email to rightsound@wildblue.net or check my demos by going to voices.com and searching Right Sound, one word. I'd be happy to work up an example for you. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back, folks. So I got one more illustration that I want to make, and I'm going to use an example. I'm going to show you two examples on the screen using pigs as an example. Let me bring in a couple of screens one moment. So I'm going to use pigs for an example. Now, by no means, Miss Carol or anyone else watching this video, am I calling your child a pig. I'm only using an example and using this as an example. As Pastor Joshua over at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church used to say, I'm not talking about nobody. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. But check this out. So if you look up here to my left, you see this pig here. See him with his buddy, all cute. The ones that you touch over at the animal farm and that you feed at the carnival and that kind of thing. Look how cute they look. You see that? Look so cute and so innocent. That's how you describe your son as being good. Good meaning don't bother nobody. Healthy kid growing up, been fed well, been cared for. But you know what? What happens if Porky, the pig, gets loose with the wild bunch? See that? You see that pig right there? You can't even touch him no more. You can't even touch that pig. I was reading an article by M Live, and it's going to bring it home right here. It was an article that was published in November of 2007. It said that domestic pigs quickly revert to wild roots. Simply put, it's any formerly captive pig that reverts to the wild. Any pig that can get out can revert back in a matter of months to a state where it can exist in the wild. It will get hairy, grow tusk, and get very aggressive. Pretty much all they do is eat and breed, and they do the same thing in the winter and the summer. So Derek, why you bring this up? I tell you exactly why I bring it up. Because if we let our kids run around with the wrong bunch, it comes a point where we may not even be able to say nothing to them. That's exactly, in a matter of months, a pig can go from looking like this here to looking right here, where you can't even touch them and they become aggressive. And they can be 5-year-old pig that you done rode the back on and rode and put a saddle on. Get loose with this kind of pig here, and in a matter of just a few months, you can't touch them no more. That's why as parents, we have to be watchful. That's why as parents, we got to examine everything, because our kids can get sucked into the evil, and at some point, but there's hope. If we can get down to the root cause, examine ourselves as parents and what we allow and what we do in the example we set. If we can answer those 3 questions that I mentioned earlier about the expectations being set and the boundaries, and providing them with activities and outlets that are healthy and wholesome, we can turn this thing around. Some of those kids that are coming around your house, Miss Carol, if you know they're not good influences, tell them don't come no more. I don't care if they're 12 or 13. You got to guard your house. Tell them don't come down here no more. Tell you something, don't go down there. If their parents don't like it, we need to have a conversation. This is why. No, this ain't happening at my house. Because if you don't take a stand, little Johnny or little Tommy gets to getting older, it's going to be harder to reel little Tommy back in. So, I hope this commentary helps somebody today. I hope that, you know, this bad company that our children can be around and deal with, I hope it's resolved. And I hope that this particular message causes everybody to reevaluate, because it's causing me to reevaluate the way that I handle my children around here. So Carol, thank you for that question. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed this informative and exciting episode. Be sure to follow the Baby Spot and Ask the Culpeppers on your favorite social media platforms, and enjoy previous shows. This is Greg with Right Sound Voice Works. And so long from the Black Hills of South Dakota. See you next time, folks.